Marty.
Tamam, quale co?
Call. I've just never.
Go ahead, bro. You're muted.
I knew that. I was just testing. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Friday Night Live. I'm Ron Hulbert in Orlando, Florida. Great to be here tonight with you. We have several people from all over the country already on this webinar, and we welcome everyone wherever you are, whoever you are. Today is February 11th, 2022. And what a year we're going to have, folks. Just sit back and get your seat on the plane because it's taking off. So let's get this thing started, and let me introduce my beautiful co-host, Lynn Nakamo from St. Petersburg, Florida.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Friday Night Live. We're glad each and every one of you is here. And tonight we have a very exciting webinar, a topic that I think everyone is going to enjoy. The topic is cybersecurity and how it applies to ONPASSIVE. And we are very fortunate to have two awesome presenters here. First, we have Dr. Benny Blessing. She is originally from Cameroon. She moved to Maryland at age 18. An interesting fact about her family is that her father has 27 children. Isn't that amazing? Wow. She has two children. She has a son who is 28, who has a bachelor's in sociology, and she has a daughter who is 25, who has a bachelor's in biology. Dr. Benny has two master's degrees, one in counseling from the University of the District of Columbia, and one in information security and assurance from Capella University. She has a PhD in cybersecurity from Capella. Dr. Benny loves to help children with intellectual disabilities. She eats, drinks, sleeps, and dreams ONPASSIVE. She loves to help founders who are in need, for example, those who need help in registering. So she is our first presenter, and our second presenter is Bridget Comsey. And Bridget is from Cameroon. She comes from a family of 9 girls and 1 boy. She has a 21-year-old daughter who is a senior in college. She moved to the United States when she was 19. She has a master's degree in chemical engineering, and she has worked in various industries, including pharmaceutical, medical device, biotech, and healthcare. Bridget is passionate about and fascinated with IT and space. She loves watching movies on the CIA and espionage. She is a proud founder, and her life is ONPASSIVE. So at this time, I would like to give the floor to our two presenters, and they're going to present a slide presentation. So Dr. Benny she'll have to do a screen share.
Okay. Good evening. Good morning. Good afternoon. I always say to my queens and to my kings on this amazing webinar in different parts of the globe. I want to take this special moment to thank our CEO for giving us this opportunity because of his love of humanity. I also want to take this moment to thank our Leadership Council members for all the marvelous work that they have been doing, all the issues that we have, and they are able to help us solve some of the problems. I also want to thank our technicians in Hyderabad, India. Now, I want to take this moment also to thank Akoha Auntie Lynn, right? Auntie Lynn, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, Mr. Ron. Thank you, each and everyone. At this moment, I am going to begin. Cybersecurity. So, I'm going to give you guys the definition of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is the art of protecting network device and data from authorized access or criminal use, and the practice of ensuring confidentiality, integrity, and availability of information. Now, when I talk about confidentiality, confidentiality helps to prevent unauthorized disclosure of data, and it ensures only viewable by unauthorized user. Access control and encryption protects the confidentiality of our data. Now, when it comes to integrity, it's like honesty, right? You have to be honest. So it provides the assurance of data that has not been modified or tampered with or corrupt through unauthorized or unintended changes. When it comes to availability, right? It ensures that the data and the services, they're available when needed. Now, I'm going to give you a little example of this information about cybersecurity. Sorry. It seems that everything relies on what? Computer, internet. When it comes to communication, what happened? You have like the email, you have smartphones, you have tablet. And when it comes to entertainment, you have the interaction of video games, you know, like for these young children that they like the video games. And then social media. I noticed that a lot of people, they like Facebook, TikTok. Then you have like application. When it comes to transportation, I noticed that a lot of us, you guys know about the search engine optimization, right? Within the search engine optimization in ONPASSIVE, an example will be Google, Hotmail, AOL, and so on. So another thing we're talking about, like shopping online, you know, there are a lot of people that because of COVID-19, a lot of people, they don't want to go out there and buy things. They will go online and shop. And when you shop, what happens? With your payment, you have to use credit card, right? And when it comes to this security, we want to make sure that our company, which I know, will protect this credit card. It will protect your information. I just want to let you guys know about it. And some people will want to use PayPal. Then when it comes to medicine, right? You have like the medical equipment, and you also have medical record and so on. The next, we're talking about how was life before internet, right? So during that time, life before internet, you know, you guys know that we used to use like pen, even though we still utilize pen. You use a pen pencil, a piece of paper. If you want to write like a letter to send it to your brothers or sister, you will write, and then you put it in an envelope, right? Then you will go and buy a stamp, and then you send it you can just send it to somebody to give it to another person, to the person that you want, you want to send that letter. Now, the birth of cybersecurity. Cybersecurity began in 1970 by Bob Thomas. In 1987, we have the birth of antivirus. The antivirus is like to protect our information. And in 1990, the world went for the first time online. In the year 2000, what happened? The hackers, most of the time, just like anyone can say, why did I study cyber? I studied it because I noticed that there are a lot of countries that are trying to intrude into our company or into America itself. So, we want to do what it takes now. How are we going to prevent it? By preventing it, we will use the antivirus, right? So the hackers, they will exploit security weakness on the internet and emails. Sometimes when they send emails, some of us don't really know who is watching. So the government clamped down onto those hackers and gave serious sentences to those hackers. Now, how does cybersecurity applies to ONPASSIVE? ONPASSIVE has highly secured AI driven. So when we talk about AI, which everybody knows is artificial intelligence, automated product, tools, and application. So as we all know, there are a lot of companies that are utilizing artificial intelligence, right? But there is a difference between those companies and us. So our CEO, he will utilize this artificial intelligence to drive traffic into our business. So when I talk about traffic, what is it? Customers. Now, I talked about automation in ONPASSIVE. ONPASSIVE artificial intelligence offers automation and enterprise software solution, which streamlines your business process with focus on improved results. So on my next slide, Ms. Kamsi is going to dive into the real thing, the layers of cybersecurity. As you guys can see, she is going to explain everything about what is going to happen within our environment. Ms. Bridget Kamsi, come along, please.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Benny. If you can stop sharing. Okay. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can you all see my screen?
No, there's a share screen button, a green button on the bottom. Do you see it?
I thought I did that. Oh yeah, okay, all right. I think now it works. Is it working now?
Yes, it's working.
Okay, great. Okay, good evening, everyone. I'm sure everyone knows, I am going to be talking today about the security layers, like Dr. Benny said. Everyone knows that ONPASSIVE is a software as a service enterprise. So I'm going to start by explaining, laying down a foundation in hopes of everyone to try to understand where I'm coming from with this. So every enterprise.
Bridget, before you begin, could you make your presentation so one screen shows only one slide at a time?
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I need to go back then. Okay, yeah, that's it. So like I was saying, I'm going to start by laying down a foundation so everyone can understand where I'm coming from with this. ONPASSIVE is a software as a service enterprise, and every enterprise comprises of layers, starting with workers, managers, and then senior managers and executive, in order to accomplish the goals of from the tactical level to the strategic level within the organization. So in each of these layers, there are IT systems to accomplish the goals or objectives of the group. And regardless of where the IT systems are sitting in the enterprise, they need to be very secured. Therefore, our mission ONPASSIVE missions critical assets, which I will name a few, like O Academy, O Connect, O Staff, O Mail, O Net, O Virtual, O Trim, just to list a few, must be very secured. So in this presentation, I approach risk from an enterprise viewpoint. So I'm going to share about enterprise risk points very quickly. I will touch on prevention, monitoring, and response. And then the rest of the engineers in our shop who are here today would probably elaborate on the IT systems. So like you see here, I have my fan diagram that lays out the security system, starting with the outermost, which is the perimeter, and then the network security, the endpoint security, the application, and then the data. And on the left is the prevention, policies and management. And then on the right here, you have monitoring, response, and operation. So next slide. Okay, the next slide here is a definition of the perimeter. The perimeter is the primary interface to the outside world. So within this perimeter, now we do have the perimeter security layer and some technologies and processes that will be used here as a security point. We'll have perimeter firewalls, intrusion detection systems, intrusion prevention systems, honeypot demilitarized zones, data loss prevention, and malware analysis. So I would kind of explain what the firewall is. It's a device or a set of devices on the very edge of the network designed to permit or deny network transmissions based upon a set of rules. And it is frequently used to protect networks from unauthorized access while permitting legitimate communications to pass. Yeah, so this is usually the very first device encountered when entering an enterprise from the internet. So another favorite point I need to talk about is a honeypot. That's one of my favorite. A honeypot is a server or group of servers that reside in the demilitarized zone that imitate servers inside the enterprise to trick malicious intruders. They are used to observe and obtain surreptitious intruders, tactics, techniques, and procedures. So that, I think I just wanted to explain about just a couple of them. And then the next level of security is the internal network. The internal network is the next layer that partitions the enterprise network into enclave. And you'd ask what an enclave is. An enclave is a distinctly bounded area enclosed within a larger unit. So here I'll just list a few of the technologies and processes that are in place for the sake of security. Again, we have a firewall here, which is a virtual firewall. And then the intrusion detection system also exists here. An intrusion prevention system and the data loss prevention or data leak prevention, and then virtual network security. So the next security layer is the endpoint. The endpoint, these are devices interfacing with the enterprise. So we're familiar with them. Examples are laptops, desktops, and smartphones. And the technologies that exist here would be the desktop firewall, host, IDS, IPS, which is the intrusion detection system and intrusion prevention system. And there exists also a data loss prevention. So at this, what I would like to explain here is the host IDS IPS, which it functions within the host. For example, as a practical example, if there's an attached Word document that may have behavior that is foreign to how the Word document will work. So hence the IDS IPS will stop it from running and report accordingly. So that's an example of how that would work there. And then the data loss prevention, it's a host software that can identify, monitor, and protect data in use at the endpoint device while stopping data leaking if an unauthorized event should occur. So it can stop unauthorized activities. For example, if you're copying sensitive data files to an external USB storage device, it will stop it from happening. So the next security layer is application. This is a software packages that resides on the devices in the enterprise or on endpoint devices. And some of the technologies and processes here are database monitoring and scanning, web application firewall, database secure gateway shield, also known as a database firewall. So let me see what examples I can talk about. I can just give an example of the database monitoring and scanning, which is just information being stored in the system that is being monitored and scanned. So it's an example right there. And then we have the data layer. The information contained in or used within the enterprise. The layer of security that protects data in the enterprise regardless of the data state. The data state can be in motion, it can be at rest, or it can be in use. And so we have the public key infrastructure, like one of the processes, and then data at rest, data in motion, and data in use protection. And then we also have the data loss prevention here. So these are just examples. Now that I have talked about, that's the last security layer. So now that I've talked about those briefly, about the technologies and processes of the risk points, it doesn't end there. A very critical aspect of the system is prevention. So policies and regulations are written and controls in place to keep the system healthy. So examples would be like the risk management framework, penetration testing, cyber threat intelligence, and security policies and compliance. I would like to talk about the security awareness training, which is a very, very important, because from my knowledge, when it comes to employees, that's a very vulnerable aspect of security breach, because if employees do not comply or they don't follow the training that they receive, they usually expose the company to threats. So security awareness is a very important aspect. And then there's also cyber threat intelligence, and there's threat modeling and vulnerability. I'm not sure why my screen is switching. Vulnerability assessment. Okay, and then the next point that I would like to talk about is monitoring and response. Continuous monitoring allows the enterprise to identify security vulnerabilities and attacks and remedy them in a timely manner. Constant observation with a keen eye, coupled with the right tools and processes in place to recognize incidents and events and respond accordingly in a timely manner, like the incident reporting, CIRT, continuous monitoring and assessment. Continuous monitoring is very important because it enables organizations to continually assess their overall security architecture to determine whether they are complying with their internal information security policies on a day-to-day basis, as well as when changes occur. In today's world, organizations rely on technologies. That is why it is important that it's important to manage the technology effectively, making sure it is confidential, safe, and compliant based on the client license agreement. So that is it for my portion of the presentation. So I would let Dr. Benny elaborate further on ethical hacking and risk management, which is on the side of prevention, which is very critical for the security of an enterprise. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Stop sharing.
Stop sharing.
I don't see the stop sharing. Oh, right there. Okay.
Thank you very much for your presentation. Now we go back to Dr. Benny. If you can show just one slide at a time, Dr. Benny.
You have to unmute.
You see where that is to the left of
Okay.
the slide bar.
Thank you.
There's a-
Thank you. All right.
You see where the showing one slide at a time, Dr. Benny?
One. Oh. Yes, yes.
Click that button. Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, at this moment, before I talk about the ethical hacking or risk management, I want to talk about cybersecurity policies. Cybersecurity is the collection of tools, policies, security concept, security safeguard, the guidelines, risk management approach, the action, training as well, like the best practice, right? Assurance technology that can be used to protect the cyber environment and organization, our organization as well, which is ONPASSIVE, and user access. So by me talking about like protection, right? Protection of your data, ONPASSIVE has installed firewall software, antivirus software, and relevant that are really necessary on our website security measures in the computer, hosting on the website in order to protect your personal data. Only authorized personnel can access your data. If the person is not authorized, your data cannot be accessed. And now when I talk about firewalls is a network security system that it monitors and controls, like the incoming and outgoing traffic based upon the predetermined security rules. Next, we talk about password security. As you guys can see, you can see like the weakness here, which is in red, and strong security, which is in green. Why is password security important? Passwords are the first line of defense against unauthorized access to your computer and personal information. Password strength is measure of effectiveness of a password against guessing and, again, password. So I'm going to give you an example. The first reason why password security is important is because the users, they do have right for something, right? To something. Now, think about it for a minute. The users, they won't even have account if they didn't have access, right? Yes, to something. So whatever resources to the users, they have access to it in order to protect our data. Now, you select the type of password that you have to select. It has to be like alphanumeric. It should be like 16, at least 16 alphanumeric. And I would like each and every one that some of our rules based upon each and every company, you can change your password every 90 days. So another example, like when you are logging into OFounders, right? What happened? You log in. You have to insert your email address and your password. When you insert your email address and password, what happened? OFounder will send you an access code. But before going to your OFounder, to your virtual office, you're supposed to open the email ready. Then the email has to be ready. So immediately the access code is being sent to you, 5 minutes is given. As soon as you receive it, now you insert those email, the codes, which is like, to me, it's like 2 factors or authentication. So at this moment, we have come to hacking. Hacking is generally considered an unlawful or illegal activity. It attempts to exploit a computer or a network to steal what? Data, right? It will steal your data, or it will corrupt your files, breach of security, or it will compromise your data integrity, right? It will. But hacking can also be done with good intention to find security flaws within your organization. So within what? ONPASSIVE, the flaws in applications, the network, or system. And this is a legitimate or lawful intrusion. Now, the lawful or legitimate intrusion to acquire access to a system, application, or network for this purpose is also defined as ethical hacking. Just to let you guys know, an ethical hacker, sometimes we do have like CEH, which is certified ethical hacker. So ethical hackers are cybersecurity experts, right? Who will test the client security by penetrating into that system and identifying the vulnerability. One of our engineers here, he will explain about vulnerability, about penetration testing. Okay. In fact, we do have 3 types of hackers. We do have a black hat, white, and gray. So a black hat hacker, they are experienced hackers who break into a system without authorization. They just come and break into it, steal your information that you are unaware of. They exploit a system security with malicious intent or for financial gain. Black hat hackers usually work with threat groups and organized crime groups. So the next will be white hat hacker. In comparison to black hat, white hat hackers are considered good Samaritan who work for enterprise like our own organization, ONPASSIVE, to improve the network and system security. The next will be gray hat hackers. Gray hat hackers perform similar actions as both white and black hats, but they look for threat and weakness in security networks, but often without malicious intent. Here comes the risk management. As Ms. Kamsi was saying, based upon NIST, National Institute of Standards and Technology, we do have a lot of documents that has to be created in each and every organization. But at this moment, we don't really want to talk about those because in the risk management framework, it is a life cycle, right? And there are 7 steps. The last step it ends with continuous monitoring, as Ms. Kamsen just said. So risk management is the process of assessing. When you assess, you respond. And what is the next thing? You monitor. So all risk cannot be mitigated, right? It can't, because there are a lot of organizations that they're trying to do something to save money. Some of them don't even have the money for the resources, right? So when I talk about resource can be like computer. Resource can be people like us, because they need someone like us now to come and assess. They need money to buy computers. But some of them, even though they have the money, but they don't want to use it. So that's why I say all risk cannot be mitigated. Now, the main component of risk management, as I told you guys, we do have our shop here. We have a risk executive director in here who is very knowledgeable when it comes to risk management. Hopefully, you guys, when you guys have questions, you'll be able to ask them and they will answer you. Now, the main component of risk, you have risk assessment. What are you assessing? You have to identify the threat and vulnerability. The next one is risk mitigation. Mitigation means you're reducing the severity or seriousness of something. And the last, but not the least, is continual monitoring. In each and every organization, they have to perform continuous monitoring. And if continuous monitoring is not there, there will be a lot of problems. So continuous monitoring, you automate the security monitoring across various sources of security information. And Ms. Kamsi will proceed for the conclusion. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes, we see all of the slides though.
Okay, so I need to do it individual. Okay.
There you
Okay.
go.
All right. Well, to conclude, with regards to continuous monitoring, so it's very important that organizations such as ONPASSIVE take the steps to secure their data and systems in the ever-growing threat landscape. So continuous security monitoring enables organizations to gauge their security posture in real time. So that's of essence. So this allows organizations to identify weaknesses or potential compromises and mitigate them quickly. So that's why I would advocate for continuous monitoring. So that's the conclusion. So at this time, we have our very able engineers in our shop who are ready to answer questions that you all have. Uncle Bob, Uncle Oliver, and Engineer Mike. Thank you so very much for your time, and we appreciate you all.
All right.
Are you able to stop the screen share? Okay, perfect.
Okay, at this moment, we want to take this opportunity to thank our CEO, Mr. Ash Mufere. He is a self-sacrificing man with a heart of humanity. ONPASSIVE is here. He is here to correct what? Corruption. There are a lot of corrupted multi-level marketings out there. Now, to our CEO, divine intervention brought our Mr. Ash Mufere to eradicate poverty and to uplift humanity. Thank you so much for listening to us. We appreciate you guys.
Let's give them a hand. It's a great presentation, making a complex topic simple so that we lay people can get a grip on the basic concepts. So we appreciate them very much. At this time, let's see, Uncle Bob, Uncle Oliver and Engineer Mike, did you folks want to bring something up before we open it up for questions? Let's see, I'm going to have to, let me enable unmuting. Okay, now you should be able to unmute yourself,
Yes,
Bob.
yes. Let me clap for fellow all winners, Dr. Benny, my sister Bridget. That was a good job. Very, very technical, high level. So, but you came across really well. I'll just maybe put it a little in some context, you know, with a few minutes. You know, cybersecurity, or also known as IT security or information assurance, they're all the same thing. It's very critical to every company, small, mid-size, large, multinational, like they said. It's very important. Every company's data and the systems that holds this data is critical to them. So they must be secured. Dr. Benny talked about confidentiality, integrity, and availability. That is the central core of what cybersecurity is all about, to make sure the data that is in these systems are confidential, the integrity is intact, and they're available to users whenever they want to use it, those who are authorized to use this data. So how is this achieved? How do companies, IT, cybersecurity shops, how is this achieved? This is achieved through security control assessments or testing. So remember, they put security controls in place. In all the cybersecurity shops, they put security controls in place to protect the data. So they do assessments to make sure this information, these controls are operating as intended and producing the results that they are being put for. So they are being assessed constantly, they are being tested through security control assessments. Then they also do vulnerability management or scanning of the systems. Some companies daily, others weekly, you know. So you scan the system, the entire system, the entire organizational structure, you scan it, run a scan to find the vulnerabilities. Dr. Benny also talked about vulnerabilities, to find the weaknesses in the system, the weaknesses that could be exploited by an outside threat. So you find these vulnerabilities, and then you patch them, you fix them, you close the holes, so that those hackers, those bad people outside cannot come into your system. That's another way. And then she also talked about testing. She also talked about penetration testing. Most companies, most serious companies that are serious with their security, they have an internal team that does their penetration testing, also call it pen test. I believe we also have one. ONPASSIVE does have one. I think Maddie said that, or I heard, you know, so that is good. So you have an internal pen test. They are constantly trying to break down the system. It's a white hat hack, as that Dr. Benny was saying. They are constantly trying to hit and break down, to find flaws constantly. There's a team that's their job, constantly struggling to find ways that they could break the system, so that, and then when they find flaws, the developers, they fix them. Most companies have this, and then we usually recommend, and most companies have an outside third-party specialist pen tester. There are some companies that are specialized in pen tests. They'll come once a year and run a pen test instead, try to jam the system, and then they will give you a report at the end, so you can use now to patch, to fix all the problems that you have that they find in your system. And then the last area is incident response. How do you, the companies must have a masterclass incident response plan, management system plan in place, so that when there is a problem, there should be a team of specialists. Usually, they are the critical IT resources, those who are leads, team leads in the various areas, that they come together when there is an issue, that there's an incident, there's an event, there's a breach, there's a problem with the system, there's a contingency plan in place that they execute. So, but for this discussion, I'm just going to try to summarize, be brief. For this discussion, Dr. Benny and Sister Bridget have actually laid it out well. For this discussion, when we apply this security to ONPASSIVE, we look at it from two angles. They have said it actually in different ways. Application security and infrastructure security. So the application, ONPASSIVE application, remember, ONPASSIVE is a system, it's a massive system. The application itself, we look at the security, how it is built, and then we look at the infrastructure where it sits inside, the security of that infrastructure. So the application-wise, we look at how it is programmed. What are the security components that are embedded? Remember, Mr. Mufara and our guys, they are building it from scratch. So they're implementing security as they go along, which is one of the best things that they are putting forward on the table. So they are doing what we call static and dynamic analysis as they go along. They're building this system, peer-to-peer review. These developers, they are looking at their codes. They are, reviewing it by themselves, peer-to-peer, code reviews. They also have tools that they could use, like there's something called HP 45. You can use it to check your code as you go to check the security. And then dynamic analysis, they use vulnerability scanning. As they're building the system, they are constantly doing static dynamic analysis. They are scanning it every step of the way. That's another layer of security that they go along. As they go, they're scanning, they look at the flaws in the system, they plug it, they keep going. That's the one area. That's how the security is built. And we also talk about WAF, web application firewall. So this application also, each one, they probably will have their own WAF, web application firewall. That's in there. And then now you move inside the infrastructure. They talked about the boundary, the firewall at the boundary of your network. Right there, before we hit the internet, before the internet gets to you, you have your firewall that is constantly filtering, looking at those who are bad guys, people who are coming to your system. Make sure they're the good guys, those who you want into your system. There are firewall rules and everything. So they look at it, there's an implicit deny. You look at it and then they come in. When you get inside the network, there are security controls in place as well. They talked about logging and monitoring. Yes, there are also tools that we have, monitoring, logging tools that we have that are being installed. But I believe that Mr. Ash before that I know, at least from a distance, it's not going to use third-party tools. I think I said this last week. I believe that we have the capacity and the capability to build ours. But there's something that they call a SIM tool, a system information event management system. It's a SIM. So it does monitoring for you and logging. So it logs everything. It looks at everything, your operating systems and database. It keeps logs of them and keeps track of everything that's happening. It looks at your firewalls and your routers. It looks at their antivirus logs. It looks at your proxy servers. It looks at their application servers, performance logs. All those things are being looked at. And in case of any abnormalities, there's an alert that goes to what we call the SOC room, the Security Operations Center. It gets to them, and that incident response team acts immediately. They talked about our encryption, the system, we have encryption at rest and in transit. The data that's coming in is encrypted. The one that stays in our system is encrypted. They also talked about data loss prevention. Data loss, DLP, data loss prevention is an agent that they install in the system that prevents what we call data exfiltration. People, she explained it well. Employees cannot remove proprietary information and upload them or email it to themselves or use a flash drive to get it out. No, that the DLP agent blocks that. And actually an alert go to the manager, and then the manager will come to that employee and say, hey, what were you doing? And then they take the necessary action. They have antivirus on the system, or the servers and the workstations. They are there, antivirus protection. We have USB block, the USBs. You cannot actually even take your USB drive and plug it in your system to download data. No, it is blocked already. They block it. Email filtering system. So all those things are put in place. They have an incident response plan. Everything is put in place for the system. When you do all that and then you do your security control assessment, in the US government, they call it the grant what they call an AT, authorization to operate. They give a stamp of approval that that system is secure. In the private sector, we do a test, an assessment, and then they give what they call a SOC report, a system organizational control support, SOC 2 type 2 report that we have tested the system and it's good. This is the report. So that's also I wanted to bring forward to us in a nutshell, but they did a very good job. And I know our boss, our founder, Mr. Ash Mufara, he's on top of the game. I have no doubt about the security of ONPASSIVE. I can tell you I'm a security analyst from the outside. ONPASSIVE is in good shape. ONPASSIVE and O-founders. So I'll send it back to you, Auntie Lynn. I see some hands up.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that. I feel very confident about ONPASSIVE and its ability to protect our data, the company's data. Yep. So it's awesome, you know. And I'm sure Ash Mufara will spare no expense to protect ONPASSIVE. I know he has the best of the best and the best systems in place. That's awesome. All right, so now we would like to take some questions and comments from the attendees. First up, we have William Delorme from Canada. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a couple of questions. As far as users go, we have availability of, like, for example, of buying a compute and set it up. And those things are expense. And when you go to start a business, startup, it's usually fairly hard because you have to have security, and which is another expense. And you have, like, most people don't want to do that because that's bad for business for people online, because they have to go through all this issues of security, and then being hacked is another problem. So I have like understand what ONPASSIVE is trying to do. So if the user can monitor the people or IP address of hackers or unwanted people, will help the situation of correcting the corruption. That's my first question, because users usually have a hard time in a startup. So that would be my first question.
Okay, so who would like to take that?
Let me take it, Bill. That was a good question, and I would like to address this by telling you that any business, you don't cut corners when it comes to security. And that is where ONPASSIVE now comes in. And that is where we are going to be the monster, because with ONPASSIVE, with our AI, that has the with AI that has the automated cyber defense attack and can also predict future attacks. It's not going to happen. ONPASSIVE now comes in now that we have everything. It's a one-stop shop. That when you come, your security is good. AI is there to protect it. Even your emails, AI is going to protect your emails. Like now, we don't have spam mail with ONPASSIVE because we have AI, and with with our process that our products and that have been automated also is going to help for that. So a lot of customers are going to come to us to come and get our services because our systems are going to be well protected. AI is there in all the products, and the automation is also there in all our products. Like our sister just talked about IDS and IPS. ideas, which is the instruction, the intrusion detective system, and the intrusion preventive system. Those they are inbuilt in our system. But the one most important thing that ONPASSIVE stand from the other companies, I'll compare this, that ONPASSIVE stand from other companies because all our systems are being built with AI and the automation from scratch. And they have that preventive, that cyber preventive, and the future, they can predict future attacks. So it's not going to happen. So small or big size companies, ONPASSIVE is the way to go for their security. Thank you.
So my second question would be, as users, we can help the company get rid of these hackers because we don't have to be there, as an example, putting handcuffs on these people because they are criminal people. And I believe that we have to put a dent in it in some way, find a way that we can monitor them, because they think we're stupid too, that we don't have the intelligence that they do. And I think that all users do, so we can fight against them. That would be my second question.
Yes, let me also take that.
Okay.
Our system, like I keep saying, with AI, we are going to have a robust data control. We have a robust data controls that are in place. That I'll go back again to emphasize on this. Companies don't have AI from scratch. We do have AI from scratch, and with the robust data controls that we have in place from AI and the automation, is going to prevent them, and is going to with that future and with that future defense to predict future attacks. It will be difficult for them to come in. But in security, you don't give 100% that is secured. And with all the other measures that we have and the controls that we do have in place that we're going to implement, and that we are not going to trust anything from the internet space, nothing is going to happen to us. Those attackers, as say security person, I say again, we cannot give 100%, but I know who our CEO is, that he takes control. He keeps talking about security also. Those users from the attackers from out there, the hackers, it will be very limited for them to get in, because they are going to do the pen test on our system, hack it, secure it, hack it, and secure it. So I will say we are going to be fine, no matter how bad they want to come. ONPASSIVE is the way to go in the world of today, because our system are going to be secured and cost effective. Thank you.
Let me also chime in there that
Certainly.
one of the awesome power of artificial intelligence is detection. You know, like Oliver said, so they are going to be able to detect these hackers even before they strike. And then remember also we have OTracker. Remember, OTracker has a feature in there that's called fraud detection. So OTracker is actually going to pick you up, identify your IP address, and then you are blocked, you are blacklisted. You will never be able. So in fact, ONPASSIVE is bad news to criminals and hackers and those who do crazy stuff online. ONPASSIVE is bad news for them, because OTracker is going to identify that IP address. You're going to have to be changing a phone or your laptop or computer or whatever every time you try, because OTracker is going to trap that IP address, detect it, and blacklist it, block it from the system. You will never be able to come inside the ONPASSIVE network. So we are very, very well protected.
Thank you. I'm impressed. I'm sure our attendees are pretty impressed as well with the protection that we're going to have for ONPASSIVE. All right, next we have Engineer Mike. You can take the unmute yourself.
Good evening, everybody. Sorry, I'm driving, so I'm not very clear. The vision is not very clear, but great presentation for the ladies, Dr. Benny and Sister Bridget Kamsi. Good breakdown, Uncle Bob, and thank you, Uncle Oliver, for you people answering the questions. What I want to bring here is to talk about a little bit about the password that Dr. Benny was talking about. So if we remember in IT now, we have the Windows operating system. We also have the Mac operating system, and we also have the Linux operating system. So all three of the systems, they have an inbuilt security that you can go online just on your command line, and you force a user to change their password depending on when they want to log in. So the command is just sh. This command changes the aging parameter of a user's password. So CH, that CHAGE, CHAGE is pronounced CH. So change age. So for instance, you can use CH command to ask a user, to prompt a user every time that they log into the system, they should have a new password. That is a security measures. And I mean, if our system, whatever, if ONPASSIVE is using Linux systems, if it is using Mac systems, and if it is using Windows systems, it is applied to every of the systems, the command, CH command. For instance, I'm a Mike. I want to log into a system. On the command line, we will give a command to a Mike so that every time he wants to log into the system, he changes his password. That is an inbuilt security for systems, be it Windows, Mac, or Linux systems. Thank you very much, Ms. Lynn. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Engineer Mike. Appreciate it. We have now Marty DeGarmo. Come on down.
All right, all right. Hey, great job, everyone. Dr. Benny, Bridget, the 2-3 IT guys, you know you're good. One thing I wanted to say so that people understand, I'm sure they do, but just in case, when you hear the word data, that's money, big money. And the reason it's money, it's information. It's about you, it's about me, it's about schools, it's about anything that goes online is data. You know, you hear IP address, you hear that. That's an address. It's an address of your computer, where you're at. Data is so powerful money-wise, like billions, if not trillions, of having data. And everything that everyone is saying tonight, keep in mind, you're in good hands, as Allstate would say. All this stuff that you're learning is covered. I mean, if you don't have protection, you don't have data. Now, where the ultimate protection comes in, and they're saying this, is when you own your own data center, because the breach would be within, right? You know that you narrow everything down when you get your own data center because you're controlling that. And keep in mind, not everybody in Hyderabad has the same level of security as maybe the one guy that really sees most of the stuff. So, you know, they can narrow down whoever's going to do what, because when they get to that level and there's a breach, they go, oh, there's only 5 people that have access to this level. So boom. But as long as you're in somebody else's data, like AWS or somebody else, there is that potential, because I don't trust any data until we own our own, because then it's your universe and you have a lot more control. And I understand now why he wants to have our own data center. But keep in mind, data is information on people and everything else. Data is money, big money, big money. And other companies will come to ONPASSIVE to rent space online to put their data. Why? They're going to go by security and bottom line. The bottom line is Ash will give value to companies, big companies, who are spending millions a month, save them probably hundreds of thousands, if not millions a month. So they'll be coming in and all that revenue comes to us. And it's all about data. That's why people get upset on Facebook. Why? Because your data is sold. Your data is sold to another company. Why? That's where the money's coming from. Data is consumers. Data is what runs the world right now. It is. It's just we look at it from from everyday life. But when you're online, data is a big deal. It's like somebody stealing your mail. I mean, it's big. So keep that in mind. Just keep it simple, because data is money and data is everything. It's everything. That's all I got.
Thank you, Marty. I hadn't even thought about that data is actually money. It makes sense to me now. So thank you for bringing that home for us. Next, I think we had Neeraj. If you're still in, Neeraj, feel free to unmute.
Somehow Marty asked the same question that I was going to ask, because one of the challenges of cybersecurity is cloud security. Definitely, we definitely have AWS, and which is a better one of the best ones. But if you own the data, that that makes a hell lot of difference. So that's what people have to understand. It's why the data centers are coming up. So Marty, you actually took my words. Okay, so I think it's already covered. So
Thanks, Neeraj. We have Denbo McCary. Go ahead and speak.
Thank you, ONPASSIVE family, Dr. Benny, Madam Kamsi, of course, my other brothers that elaborated on the security measures, Mike, and I've forgotten the other security analyst name, but I thank you all. Just like Maddy was saying, yes, data is the new oil. You know, data is the new oil, and to maintain the integrity of data, that is why the security measures are very, very important, and that is what have just been laid out to us. You know, so I'm very, very happy to at least to participate in this this webinar, to have more information as a network administrator and an IT consultant. Now, my comments or my addition that I want to make is, let's think about the 99.9% uptime of a network, and perhaps business continuity and disaster recovery. Let's flash our mind back to 9/11. If, you know, God forbid, and that happens, or businesses goes down, I know there is monitoring and assessment, continuous assessment. What is the quickest response time that we can get a business back and running? Thank you.
Can I take it?
Yes, so
Okay.
that's a good question. And you really told us where to find the answer. So from a security perspective, we always have to have a business continuity and disaster recovery plan. It's always current. It is tested constantly, maybe every 6 months, or, you know, at least every 6 months you test it. So now you have to, within that plan, you have to define, you know, certain things. You have to first of all identify what your critical IT services and resources are. You know, you define that, you know the people who are the experts in the various areas or the various components of your system, who's the database engineers, the developers, everybody who is involved in their own area, the experts. You have a contingency plan that lists that out. Then you also have to define your downtime, what we call your RTO, your recovery time objective, which is how much time can this system sustain being down versus how much while you do your recovery. It's called your recovery time objective, you know. And then you have a contingency plan that has actually laid out step by step, you know, how you activate your recovery, the sequence of recovery events, how you restart, how you bring back up your system. It's laid out, lessons learned and everything. That disaster recovery is always and should always be handy, because we don't know what can happen. Anything can happen within your organization. The most companies that are successful are the companies that have a robust disaster recovery plan, and that plan must always be tested consistently, constantly. Maybe some companies do it every 3 months. They test it. They do what they call tabletop testing. Each step they even come to, they shut down an entire building, see how they can recover it constantly. It is being done. That's the way you alleviate situations like that. And then they have other strategies for offsite, how you can, take the system offsite. Even if, let's say, there's a bomb comes here, now we have the cloud environment, so you can move the system offsite and do the recovery offsite. The system keeps running. You have identified the systems that needs to be up and running, even if everything else is down, the mission critical systems. So, but that is covered in your business continuity and disaster recovery plan. I don't know if Oliver wants to add anything else, but
yeah, let me add something. That is why I'm saying that ONPASSIVE is going to be the king in the forest, the king in the forest, because of our. I'll come back. I'll always tie everything for us to AI, because my brother Bob just talked about RTO and there's RPO. Recovery time, yes, recovery time should not be, it should be per second or per minute. Remember, our CEO told us one time that we have 4 versions of 3 versions of old staff, and then there must be backups, which is being the backups are being in a different location. If you come and where our cloud service can be, they can come and burn that building, but there's a backup, and that backup is by mirroring. Immediately, it's millisecond as data get in, is the replicate go immediately to the backup center. So if you come and burn the building where our data reside, within seconds, maximum 4 minutes. Maximum 4 minutes.
Redundancy.
Yeah, that's it. Good, sir. Good. Redundancy. Immediately the redundancy, bam, picks in. So we are fine. And I'll go back again. I'll tie everything on ONPASSIVE on AI. That's the best thing that has happened. That is going to be a revolutionary. That is, ONPASSIVE is going to be the king of the forest, because everything is intact. Again, now we have our own data center. So we are fine. All companies will come to us because they know their data is going to be secured. It will not be secure 100%, but they will have some level of security.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yep.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Next, we have Gladys Nyaboro.
Hi, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you well.
Yeah, I'm wearing my baby's headphones for the first day, so I have to be sure you can hear me. Thank you so much, Dr. Benny, Bridget, and the leaders who have explained this to us. And thank you, Madi, for explaining that data means money. I hadn't thought that far. But I think this is a very important topic that every founder needs to hear. Because if you listen to this recording, if you hear the explanations that has been given by the engineers, the experts in the field, really, I am not in a rush to ask when are we going to launch. Because I want, once we launch, I want my data to be secure. I want everybody's data to be secure. I want everything to go smooth. Imagine Ash is trying to develop the products with his team. At the same time, they are trying to put all these measures, the security measures in place. So this brings a clear picture to us to understand what is happening. And also, I have a question now, because there's something which is confusing me a little bit. I have no much information about the IT other than my security and what I'm supposed to do when logging in and out. Engineer Mike did talk about the shade, the one that prompts to change the passwords. I have 2 questions. That's question 1. Is that the one that prompts like during at work, we have passwords, but every maybe 3 months, a message comes telling me to change my password. I want to know, is that due to that change prompt or no? Number
Yes,
two.
Gladys, that is it.
Okay.
It is in a file. They have a configuration file that they put those parameters there so that every time when you log in, they can say 3 months, they can say every time, they can say every month or 9 months, depending on what the administrators decide to do. And all that is found in the service license agreement, okay? The SLA, service license agreement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Question number 2. Dr. Benny mentioned that we have 3 types of hackers. The black hat ones, those ones are figured out, not difficult. The gray hackers and the white hat hackers, she said that they don't have malicious intent, both of them. So I'm confused. How can I differentiate the gray hat and the white hat hacker if both don't have malicious intent?
Dr. Benny, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, the gray and the white, they don't have malicious intention at all. So we just know that the black one is the one that has the malicious intent.
So the gray and the white do the same job?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much. For anybody, any pound of...
Let me add a little bit. Oliver,
Yes.
did you go?
Go ahead.
Am I muted? Okay.
No, we hear you.
So the white hackers usually are employed by the corporation, by a company, for them to, come and beat down the system to find flaws. But they are doing that with no malicious intent, because there have been some, or sometimes it's actually a group of hackers that are employed within the company, or it could be an outside company that is being hired to come and make sure this system is intact. But the gray hat hackers are people who are out there. They are playing. They are just hacking. They are doing stuff. But they are not part of any corporation. There are some people who are just, curious people. They go in, they beat down the website, and then all of a sudden they find a flaw, and then they could say something about it or not. So that's the slight difference between the gray hat and the white hat.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lynn, can I add something here?
Yeah.
I just definitely I've been watching webinars from 2018, and I definitely know that Ash had said sometime back that he had employed hackers, and the main intention was to check out how much how safe is the wallet. So
Yes.
definitely those are I can actually I know definitely that we have employed hackers to check it out. So those are the good intention hackers.
White hat.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, white hat.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I truly appreciate. And now when anybody asks me when we are going to launch, I'm going to share this recording so that they can listen. Hopefully they will see the whole picture.
Okay,
Thank
let me
you.
say another thing about, let me say our CEO bringing the, let me say the CEH, which is the Certified Ethical Hacker, is because he wants to do everything, like those hackers, the CEH, they want to do everything like to look for the loopholes, right? If there is any problem, if you are a hacker or you want to do whatever it takes, right? To see if there is any problem, you hack and then you fix, right? When you hack and fix, the reason why you are fixing it is because any of those hackers trying to intrude into our data, right? Because of our continuous monitoring. we will be able to fix it. Thank you.
That definitely is reassuring to me, you know, that we're safe, or ONPASSIVE is safe. Thank you. All right, we have Marcian Hemabu. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Marcian.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. Wow, what a webinar. This is so amazing. This is really what I needed to hear tonight. Dr. Benny and Sister Bridget, you guys have nailed it down. You see why when I go out and I talk about ONPASSIVE, I'm so happy, because my money that I pay is nothing. How can I have a course is zero free tonight? What people pay to go to have it in the class, I'm having it tonight. This is so amazing. We are learning a lot in ONPASSIVE. I didn't put my hand up to ask any question. I just called to say that ONPASSIVE is where we need to be. We are learning a lot. I don't know nothing about cybersecurity, but tonight, believe me, I know a lot now. I can take a course and I will pass that PEG like Dr. Benny did, because she told me everything in less than an hour. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. I need to win it.
We need to win it.
You're welcome. We'll
Lynn,
send you
let me
the
take
bill
this.
later.
Lynn, let me take this next guy because I can pronounce his name.
All right, go for it, Ron.
Because my wife's last name was Jones. Mr. Wayne Jones, come on down.
How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
My question is, and I've been working a lot of hours, so I've been listening to certain webinars, and I love your guys' webinar. A lot of information about the technology and the security on both ends. One of the things that I just heard a little while ago is that data is money. One of the reasons why I got into passive, and you might have already covered all this, and I just want to make sure that my data isn't sold. I want to make sure that my data is secure, and that and everybody that becomes on passive, are they secured? Are they covered?
Dr. Benny is shaking her head.
Absolutely. I think
Yes,
Mr. Mara, if
it is
at one
covered.
webinar a while ago, he told us, looked at all of us in our eyes directly and told us that ONPASSIVE, our data is never, not for even $1 trillion would ever be sold. I believe so. That's what Mr. Ash told us. I believe him then and I believe him now, that our data is secured. It's never going to be.
This is a little bit off the topic, but I just wanted to know if with all this data that we're going to have and we have all this new technology, does anybody know if we are using a satellite? Because someone asked him, as he talked to Elon Musk, there was a long pause. And did he say, me? No, I have not talked to him. Do we know any of that, or can we say anything about that?
That's top secret, Wayne.
I think that's a Mari question. That question is for Mari.
Listen, Ash had said at one point that to put a satellite in space was about $95 million. The reason he was saying that, look, down the road, I wouldn't be surprised if he did. And the reason is he wants to expand internet. Keep in mind, just over a little of the population of the world has internet access, just a little over, right? 4.6 billion. So there's 8 billion on the planet. So there's a big space there. And when you talk about what Ash was talking about, like a global answer to many, many things, part of it is getting satellite to places that don't have it now, or it's very bad. Now, that's not going to happen next week, but is it in his head? Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thank you, guys. I appreciate everybody.
Marty, thank you, Wayne. Marty, keep on going. You had your hand up.
Well, I wanted to, with the black hat, gray hat, and white hat, to make it simple for us common folk, what happened was there was always black and white, but the world's not black and white. What happened there was some people that would hack not for monetary reasons. They would hack so they could expose something. In other words, let's say they get into Facebook and find out that they are selling our information. The only way to find that out is get in and hack the system. Then they would put an alarm out. You know, he would be a whistleblower, is what you would call him. That's a gray hat hacker. He's doing it to expose. In those cases, black hat wants to disrupt, cause problems, or monetary, want to make money. Any one of those it could be, malicious, whatever. But gray hat is the guy that thinks he's doing good for everyone. He's like Robin Hood. But in some cases, it does do good for people to find out certain things. But that's the best way to explain it where I would understand it.
I got it. I got it. That's good. Godfrey.
Hello, thank you.
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Very clearly. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Benny. Thank you, Sister Bridget, and all the panelists. We appreciate you very much. One of the questions I want to ask Uncle Bob already answered it, because when we have data center and we have O-Tracker, anyone who wants to penetrate in our system will be able to identify that person in a second, which is a very good thing. The other question is that if we have the data center that is protected, I know to up to our email or omail.ai. Now, is there any way that they can provide the service, even we have to pay to protect our own personal email, the one that we use to open accounts, like if you can, like a McAfee, you buy the antivirus, those things. If you can have something from ONPASSIVE, we can pay monthly or something like that. That's my question.
Let me take let me say this. When you talk about email, anything that leave ONPASSIVE data center and comes to your house or wherever you are, that is not ONPASSIVE. Within ONPASSIVE environment is protected, but when it gets out and comes to your house, that is you are supposed to look for your personal protection, like those malwares, protections, and protect your laptop. But for maybe one day the CEO will say that, okay, maybe he's going to, since we have a manufacturing, we are going to have factories now. Maybe they can manufacture some so that people who buy, we don't know about that, but it might happen tomorrow, because with the CEO, everything is possible when it comes to technology. He can do that.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, Godfrey, with emails, there's a lot of security, and 99% of people don't use it. You can do authenticator. You can make it so that there's 2 or 3 things you got to go through to get into your email. Some people don't even do an email where they have a backup email. They just do an email and let it go. You can make your email a lot more secure. Will it ever be 100%? Yes. When we switch over to OMail one day, when everything's OMail, then it'll be secure. But you can beef it up a little bit as far as emails go. But the computer side of it, like Oliver said, that's our job for right now.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty. Anybody else out there want to raise their hand? Now is a good time. Tina and Mike from Singapore, come on down.
Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone in the world. It's Tina here. I always love hearing about security. It's my favorite subject when I was learning in the uni a long time ago. But yes, what Marty just said, it's so important. We have to have our personal responsibility of our data. So just like having our Facebook, our Messenger, and everything, even WhatsApp, it's best for you to take responsibility on your own and secure your data. How? There's always this two-step authenticity that we must do, and I do it for all, even from my WhatsApp. Before I actually open it, I have my biometrics to put it on so that no one else can get access into my WhatsApp, into my phone, into my Facebook. I've got so authenticator is very important. What is important is for us, even for us as the people who are holding on to the data, don't just let go of the security to the corporate. We ourselves have to be responsible and accountable for our data. That's all I have to say. Thank you so much. It's a wonderful webinar. I love security. Thank you, Dr. Benny. Thank you, Lynn and Ron, for having this subject. Oh my God, Bob, Oliver, and this. It's a great webinar. I love it. I love it. Gladys, beautiful question. Thank you so much for all the learning today. I'm back in the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Tina, for your question.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other hands? I don't see any other hands. You know what that means?
Yeah, let me ask something about password.
You didn't raise your hand.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I just want to say something about password. Please, we should be very careful with our password, and we should take it as our own protection. That when you go and use, because I saw some questions that were coming during when with the wrinkle stuff, that people were saying that my password is my password on my email. Please take that responsibility. Your password should be your personal stuff. And now that we are going to launch, we are going to have our wallet that you transfer your money to your bank account. Make sure you change your password every 3 months. Most companies is 90 days, which is 3 months to change your password. And they should be minimum 10 characters. If you go somewhere, you use somebody's device, laptop or whatever to check your emails, or you want to do some transfer, please, when you go there, log out. When you log in there, please log out to make sure that it's, your email is not out there, it's not open. Because if you do that, somebody comes and get it, you are in trouble. And if you suspect anything about that, that somebody has got into your account, change the password immediately. It should be anything. Change your password immediately. Your password should be your #1 protection, because that is your responsibility. I just wanted to stress on this matter of password, that we should understand the intensity or the power or the power of password. Change your password every 90 days. It should be minimum 10 characters. Mix it with words, numbers, and special characters. $sign or whatever sign, and sign, mix them with it. And do not write it, or if you write it somewhere, please make sure that where you write it, Microsoft has something now that you can log in all your password and save it. That is only you that has that password for that save for your password if you have a lot of passwords. Thank you.
That is, folks, that is so true. Like on your cell phones, this week mine was stolen. Within 4 hours, they had cleaned out my bank account because I didn't have a lock screen on. So they got in it. And of course, I have that passport app where you can just hold your phone up and let it pay. And that's what they use. So protect yourself. The company can only do so much. So thank you, Oliver. Rose, come on down. Budget fitting.
Thank you so much, Ron. I mean, what you're saying is very key. If we, excuse me, I have a cold. If we don't protect ourselves, definitely will not be, we won't blame ONPASSIVE, because ONPASSIVE, I am so marveled by the teaching I've gotten here. This is the real O Academy coming on. So thank you very much, the facilitators. It was amazing, I must say that. But as the users, we must, by all means, protect ourselves as much as our founders here and the CEO have given us all the best in the platform and all the teaching that there is. And the goodness is, if you forget, there is a YouTube to go back to and listen. So once again, I'm just saying thank you. And I'm so honored to be here and to be a founder in this great, great venture. One thing that I want to repeat is data is the real gold. If our gold, which is our data, is protected, what can we lose? So thank you to all our facilitators.
Thank you, Rose. Okay, Ocarina, come on down.
Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
I wanted to ask Oliver, when you said that you should close out of your password on it, you mean like when you're in your back office? Because I just close like my window, I don't actually log out. Is that like a problem? Should I just log out before I close my window? Because when I come back in, of course, it's closed already. But I just wanted to ask you about that, dear, because I know nothing about this stuff.
No, please shut it down. Just shut it down.
Okay. Like,
shut it down. Yeah. For me,
out.
Just lock out.
Okay.
I'm so particular about it because now, like I said before, we'll start using our wallet. And we'll have our laptops.
Yes.
You know, we'll have your iPhone or your tablet that maybe you want to access your wallet. Maybe you travel. Just log out.
Log out. Okay.
Log
Not just
out.
close. Not just close the window at the top.
No.
Log
okay.
out.
Okay, that's what I've been doing. So thank you.
Click on your picture. Go down the actual where it says log out. That's what Oliver. That's what
okay.
Oliver said.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Welcome.
All right.
And thanks for having me, guys. Love you all.
You're welcome. We love having y'all.
All right.
Okay. We have the beautiful Miss Cindy Hopkins. Hello, Cindy.
Well, hello, Ron. Hello, all of you beautiful founders. And oh, that was a terrific question, Corina. I mean, I go over that a lot. I have regular weekly calls as well with founders, and that is I'm fanatical about that. Definitely log out, make yourself log out. I don't care where you are, in your email, wherever you are, log out. You know, that's security all the way. But I also wanted to reiterate what Tina and Rose had to say. I mean, you guys are great. Thank you so much for the presenters here, the educators. I mean, we're getting just a inkling of what it's going to be like with as we progress along. I mean, with all the knowledge and learning that you're getting here, Marty, of course, always wonderful presenter, Dr. Benny, Bridget, all of you folks were just fantastic. And I just want to tell you and give you my thanks from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of all founders. I know we're all thinking the same thing as far as our gratitude, eternal gratitude, really, for what you're teaching us. And I thank you so very much. And that's really all I wanted to say tonight. God bless you all.
God bless you, Cindy. And I agree totally. We're thankful for Ash McFarr, because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be on this webinar. So, and imagine what you'd have to pay outside to get this education we're getting tonight.
You know what else, Ron, on that? You know, you're right. I think that if I've learned nothing in these last 4 years, or nearly 4 years, that since I've been a founder, it has been to learn patience and really knock me down a notch to realize that, you know, I'm not just out there scrambling to make a living. I mean, we are all working together, and I love what our CEO has really enforced in us. I mean, it really brought us to really go full force, full turnaround, to think about other people. And that is what it's all about. I mean, I think most of us have always cared about people, but I believe in this business, and that's why I feel like I'm right at home. I mean, it just impacts in everything that we do. We're helping each other, and I believe that. And I do want to these wonderful, wonderful Friday night webinars. They're great. They're great. Thank you.
Thank you. And also I want to thank Marty Nakamo, because if it wasn't for him, he gave us a slot to do this Friday Night Live. So we appreciate him tremendously. So Roger, one digit.
Good evening, good morning, everyone. Thank you, Sister Bridget Kamsi. Thank you, Dr. Benny. I don't want to say thank you to the master of the master. I'm talking about Marty Nakamo, Oliver, Engineer Mike, Bob Takusi. Please accept my deepest gratitude and accept my acknowledgement of the amazing job that you guys are doing. I greatly appreciate you guys. I have a question. Oliver, you were talking about changing the password. My question is, should I have to contact support if I want to update my password?
No.
No.
Okay.
No. That is on you.
Okay.
That is on you.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
All you have to do is go into your old founders account, click on your pic,
Profile.
your picture,
Profile.
go to profile, and you can change your password anytime.
Okay.
You just can't
Thank you.
change the email.
Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Great question.
You're welcome.
Lynn, I'm going to send it back to you. Let you do it, and then we'll finish it out.
All righty. Hi, Niraj. Good to see you here. Go ahead and speak.
Sorry, just thought of asking this. When you, since the option of logout had come, a question of logout had come, I'm sure everybody must have experienced that if your session is not idle for a certain number of time, then automatically it logs off. So maybe I want maybe the techie guys to explain this security feature, what like how useful it is, or how or can you tell more about it from the techie side? What does it do?
What do you want to know, sir?
Who wants to take Niraj's question?
So he's asking why, I mean, because the system logs you out. So if, why?
No, what I meant is that's a good feature. So I just want you to stress out the importance of that. So that's what I was asking.
Oh, yes. No, naturally, you know, if you're idle for maybe, I don't know, maybe 2-3 minutes, the system will log you out of your founder page, which is also probably going to be the same when we go live. But when what he's saying is within that 2-3 minute time span, that space that you have your account open, especially if you go somewhere, you log into your back office, you do your transactions, you have your email there, maybe your founder account is there, you leave that place and you don't log out. As you turn your back, somebody can sit right back as you sat and, you know, get access to your system and do exactly what you just did, maybe transfer your wallet or create some havoc for you. So that's just what he's saying. So it's good for us to always, you know, when you are done with your account, especially when you are using a device, I think that's what Oliver was trying to say. If you are using a device that's not your usual device, let's say you go somewhere and you access a device that's not your usual device, log out. It's the safer thing to do. Nothing is guaranteed. Because you leave it there for 1 minute, somebody can get in there, especially somebody who knows what they are doing. They can get in there, get into your wallet, because maybe the token will be sent to your, you know, to your email. Your email is probably also open. So they can do something, you know, malicious to your account and just cause you a headache. Security will come in and, you know, before everything is taken care of, maybe something might have been done that will just cause you some inconvenience. I believe that's just what we're saying, Miraj. So it's a good practice.
Amen. It'll cost you.
I would think.
I
It might cost you headache. It might cost you time, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for that. I was only not talking about the 5 minutes where you log in, but once you have logged in and somehow you are not in front of your computer and you just leave it, by default, a security setting has been set wherein If your session is idle for a certain amount of time, I'm not sure how much time, but it automatically logs you out. And that,
Correct.
I think, is a great security feature.
Yes, it is. Yes.
But let me also add that don't take advantage that within how many minutes it's going to lock you out automatic. Please get it as a best practice.
Mm-hmm.
Get it as a best practice, as a lock out at any time. Then there's one other thing also. Do not save your credentials.
Your credential.
Don't do it. Your credentials, your password, and your email address. Don't save it, because when you save it, somebody come and somebody come on your come and use your laptop or your desktop. They will just log in there because it's saved there. Don't save there. That's why log out. Don't take that advantage that ONPASSIVE will log you out within how many minutes, how many minutes. Take it as a best practice to log out at any time that you want to leave your desk. Let's say you have $10,000 in your wallet. Somebody just come there, bam, transfer the money to the ask, then they open your email account. He can, from your wallet, he can transfer that money to your and do the KYC and transfer the money into his own bank account. So it should be a best practice. We should take it as a best practice. Log out, no matter what. Log out, and when you want to come back, you log back in. Yes, we have that automated feature that
auto log. Yeah.
That within how many minutes it's going to log you. It's going to log you out. But please take it as also upon yourself to protect your money and to protect your system and your data. Like our big bro Madi said, data is money. That is why the system must be protected. They protect that data, where that data is going. Where that data is going. So you take upon your own self to protect your machine by log out and log back in when you want to do anything with your machine. Thank you.
I want to add one thing. I'm sorry I'm butting in, but I got to do it because my brain don't last that long. The reason you want to do that, you want to make good habits. Hackers run off of habit. They will watch a long time before they do anything. They analyze people, and they will finally see, hey, this Marty guy, he never logs out. Yes, there's 30 minutes, and it automatically logs out. But if you get out, log out. And like the password and saving all that, like they said, I've done that for years. You might think it's okay now, but when you have money in there, I wouldn't save anything online. Nothing. Write it down. If you remember it, that's okay. But man, log out, because the big thing for hackers is vulnerability. They look to see what habits are going on. And they don't need to be quick. They need to wait. They're like a wolf. They're just waiting for the opportunity to break in or get in or whatever. I don't want to scare everybody, because I believe ONPASSIVE will have the best security in the world. But remember, there's really smart people on the evil side as there is on the good man side. So you just got to be careful. That's all. Being careful. No more, no less.
Thank you. And I think also just to remember that even though we are given all the security safeties and everything is at our disposal, we still have to have some initiative to take personal responsibility. So that will never change, right? You can have everything at your disposal, but if you don't implement, then you will not be protected. So that's something to consider as well. All right, we have Engineer Mike who would like to say something.
For this opportunity. This time is just to talk about when you're logging into your system. It is very critical for companies. I was working in a movie production company. So one of the, he was like the director. He's a director of the rendering system. They do the rendering when all the movies are. Rendering just means they're doing the editing of their movies. So what he did was, he was used to, he liked walk in his decks and he will leave everything on. Okay, he doesn't close it. He doesn't log out of his system. So they have witnessed, if they have monitored him for a very long time, to see that this is what he is doing for a very long time. Happening is this movie was not even produced finally, but somebody just 2 minutes that he left his desk to go to I don't know where to, and when he walked away, another person came to his seat and got all them, and that movie was already out there. He was fired. He had already a career in that company, but fired. I didn't give benefit. So that is how critical this security thing is. You don't leave your desk and you leave your liver always locked completely. Even if you don't go, you do for a couple of minutes, you can idle the system. If you leave it on, you don't know what can happen in a fraction of a minute. So this guy, the movie was lost because it was already out there and the person sold it. Then the company lose the movie, which was millions of dollars. So they fired the manager that has been working there time, a director. So that's how very critical this this thing is, already. Everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good point right there. Now we have Pat Parrott. Come on down.
Hi, Lynn. Thank you. I have a question about when you're in the back office and it times you out while you're working. Should you go back in, sign in, and log out again for safety reasons?
Who wants to take that?
Yes. If it logs you out, go back and log back in. Remember that before it logs you out, it gives you some few minutes. It will tell you you have this amount of minutes for it to shut down. But if you just go and click, it will take you back in automatic. But if it logs you back out, go back and log back in.
Okay, and another one is I keep my passwords in a safe and I have to sign into it before I can go into Founders or whatever. Is that safe enough, or should you always just write them down? I have them written down, but
that is safe enough. But make sure that password that you got for the where your other passwords are, don't share it with anybody.
Correct. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks for your question. We have now Corina Lance.
Thanks, Lynn. I just wanted to ask again about the saving your credentials. When you go into your back office and you have your password, your email password, I had saved it when it came the first time at the top because we always have that 6 digits when we come in. Now, you're telling me to not save that at all and do it manually every time? To be
yes,
secure?
for safety.
Yes.
For safety.
Okay.
Better
I
to
will do
type
that.
it. Yes.
Isn't that something? I've been doing it wrong all along. And I literally did not know how important it was to log out. I never log out. Even in my bank. Even in my bank, I had no idea.
Oh no.
So thank you. Because that's very dangerous.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
That's how techie I am, Oliver. Thank you so much.
Corey, you can't do that. Yeah.
Thank you.
Don't save your password in your machine. Do not. Don't do that. If you have,
I promise.
Yeah,
Never,
don't do that.
Never again. I will take it out. How do I take out because the credentials are already in there? So how do I unsave it so that I can?
When that thing comes on the upper right hand side, just delete it.
Uncheck it, delete it.
Yeah, uncheck it, and you just delete it.
It doesn't come up no more though, you guys. It only came up the first time I did it, and I said save. So how do I get back to it so I can unsave it and have to do it again?
Is it on your? Is it because the one on your founder stays there, but on your email you can go to settings. If on your email you go to your settings, it will walk you through how to. It's just a check button on your right hand side. You will see it there disable your password.
Okay, and for back office as well, founders, probably in profile, I can
yes,
unsave
go
it?
to your, yes.
Just or just change your password in your founder.
Okay.
And
perfect.
That's a good idea.
Because it's probably single sign. You can't see it anymore. So
okay. Right. Exactly. Thank you, Bob. Uncle Bob.
I sign
thank
in
you.
every single time. I sign in every
It's
single
better
time.
to sign in, yeah. Sign in anytime and log out. No matter where you are, log out. We are going into a crucial moment now, the next phase.
Yes.
That Mola is coming.
Yes.
So
I'll get that in my head.
If you don't save it, you're in trouble.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Thank you. It's okay, Karina. A lot of us don't know too. You're not the only one, but you were brave enough to ask the questions. I give you credit. Good for you. All right, now we have Bruce Gerstein. Come on down.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank our two wonderful ladies, Dr. Benny and Bridget. You're very wonderful in the information that you gave us. And again, Engineer Mike and Oliver and Bob, all of you gave such incredible information to us tonight. I like to keep things simple. It's nice to keep things simple. So I know that one thing that we can be sure of is that ONPASSIVE wants to protect us without question. And that's part of what we want to be here at SAFE. So when I look at our responsibility, our basic responsibility is to continue to change our passwords and to shut down our account, and not to just shut down, but log off. Because just shutting down a computer doesn't log you off of a system. So would you say that those are the two most essential things that the founders really need to be aware of, to continue to change your password every 90 days, make it at least 10 numbers, digits, whatever, and also to log off? Because a hacker can, in a millisecond, get into your computer if they know you, like Marty told you, that they're watching us all the time. So anybody who thinks that it just automatically logs off, that it's safe, is just taking things, not being responsible. And so it's a lot better to get into the habit of logging off continuously whenever we get out. Would that be correct?
That's the best practice, Bruce, to change your password every 90 days. That's what we recommend in the industry. Every 90 days, maybe 8 to 10 characters, alphanumeric and a special character, pound sign or exclamation or any @ sign, any special character. That's the best practice. It's good for you, for your protection, because people monitor us. You know, there are tools. There are sniffing tools that people sniff around your network. Somebody could be in, you could be in your house on your wireless network. There's somebody with a sniffer next door sniffing around, just monitoring you, seeing everything that you're doing, you know. So they could pick up your password at some point. But if you have a habit of changing every 90 days, you change, every 90 days you change alphanumeric, something that you remember, you know, like I think the former speaker said, they have theirs in a, you know, in a safe, you know. If you can't remember, keep it in a safe, lock it. Whenever you forget it, you go back to your safe and you look at it and remember it, you know. But it's a good best practice, like Oliver said. Always change it every 90 days at a minimum.
It's a good habit to get into.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about money in the end,
we're talking about money, yeah. You don't want someone to have access to your money. Because when they have,
it's an essential habit to get into.
Yeah. Yes, Bruce.
Thank you. Thank you, Bruce. Appreciate it. All right, next we have David Switzer. Come on down.
Okay, hi everybody. So just getting back what you guys are saying and what I'm hearing, that every time you go in your back office, you manually got to put your password in. Is that what you're saying? Instead of Like you can set it for automatically. When you push on your email, it automatically pops up. You can automatically go into your back office, but now you're saying that you manually have to put your password in. First, put your password in every time that you go in your back office.
Yes.
Because that sounds like a lot of work to me. I know, a lot of people, we forget our passwords once in a while, and if you forget your password, then you can't get in your back office. So that kind of bothers me a little bit too. So
what we recommend, David, but if you can't do it, I mean, that's the recommendation. That's it's a best practice, somebody somewhere, like I just said earlier, you don't want to let someone have access to your credentials. If they do, it might cost you a headache. So it's just the best practice. That's what we're advising, and that's what the industry advises. Change it every 90 days. And remember, somebody just wrote here. I was looking at the chat that Mr. Mufara is saying that this business is something like this business is 200%. ONPASSIVE is giving us. ONPASSIVE is giving 100%, and us, we, the founders, we have to give the other 100%. That is that other 100%, so that everything goes. I think that's not much to ask, if you can.
When you're doing it, guys, sorry to interrupt, but when you do it, you're going to be doing it and you'll remember it then, because you're going to be logging in all the time, right?
All the time, yes. So you remember it, yeah. Or you keep it in a safe, like Miss Bruce or the lady before said, you just keep it in a safe that you lock it, that is not accessible by anyone else. When you forget, you go back there and you retrieve it,
David, you should be logging every email and every password in a book. Every email and every password you have, you should be logging in a book, and you will not forget that. And then when you change it, you simply change it in your book.
Yes.
I gave my 5 cents worth tonight, Bob.
Thank you. Thank you,
David. If you're giving away free money, David, send it to me.
Yeah, make sure you write it down too. If you don't write it down, you'll be in trouble.
Guys, remember, this is moolah, like Oliver said. This is money, right? Our money, data, our money, like Mali said. So, David, you can actually go to the bank and a safe deposit box where you keep this book in it. Whenever you forget your password, you go to your bank, go to your safe deposit box, open it, look at your password, you remember it, then you come back and log into it. It's money. And highly recommended.
Yeah.
I've raised my hands. Can I just say something?
Now we have Tina. She's gonna.
Yes. Thank you so much, Lynn. David, I think I'll just try to make things very simple and down to earth. Just imagine you have money in your house, and a lot of people love to put their keys to the house under the mat or on a flower pot or something. That's a habit, So yeah, and you need the key to enter your house, right? So, and if you have money in your house, you don't want anyone to know where your keys are except with you. So like I said again, just to reiterate again, it is a personal responsibility to keep that house key for yourself, wherever you put it, so that only you know. I think everyone needs to understand, to bring it down to simplicity, that you need the key to open your house. So going into OFounder and into a wallet, especially where your moolah is, you need the key. So just keep it to yourself and change keys every now and then. And that's the bottom line. Thank you so much, Lynn. So great webinar, I think. But simplicity, and that's it. Personal responsibility. Your data, you own it, you keep it, you save it. Thank you.
You're let me say something to Tina there. Tina, you're exactly right, because imagine your computer and everything as your house, like you said. If you're not going to protect yourself, just go out, hang a key on the door and say, key to house, money's in the bedroom. Okay?
Absolutely.
I agree.
I love it. Thank you
Thank
both.
you.
Thank you. Now we have Niraj.
Okay, thank you. First of all, sorry, I'm coming back again and again because this is something where I was lacking, and this is I have learned it in the hard way. So I'm just trying to put the points. Since everyone understands the importance of logging into the account, and right, maybe we may not feel the importance right now, but of course, we are developing all those habits right now, so in future we don't face this problem. One thing which I would actually like to stress is whenever you have an email address, and maybe the others can share their opinion about it. Uh, Whenever you are creating an email address, always have a recovery email address or a phone number, because unfortunately a lot of founders are not doing that, and then human mind has a certain level of remembrance and they forget the password, or maybe they lose their phone, or whatever happens to their phone, and then this I face this problem in a lot in India. I'm not sure about what happens around the world, but I would like to stress that please, 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 please enter some kind of recovery settings in your email address, because if you do not enter that, then you would not be able to enter into your on passive account, and then there's no use of 10,000 lying in your account. You would not be able to withdraw that. So maybe others could share their opinion about it.
Thank you. All right, does anyone want to say anything? We're gonna wrap it up. So any of our,
I
go
agree
ahead,
with Niraj.
Bob.
I agree with Niraj 100%.
All righty.
Yeah.
Tim, you're gonna be our last speaker. If you can, okay. Tim and Lucy will be our last to speak tonight. So we wanna wrap it up because we've gone over time already. Again, Tim and Lucy will be our last speakers. Tim, can you go ahead and speak?
Yes, Lynn. Hello to all. And today I was sitting at my computer and I was working out exactly what was being talked about. I have Chrome, Google Chrome, and I went to my settings and I opened the settings and I went to the more or advanced level, and it brought up a screen that showed me a couple different options. Autofill was on there, but that was what I needed. I clicked on autofill and it brought up another screen that said passwords. I clicked on passwords. I could see every password I ever saved. I went and I found all my GoFounders. I went and I found all my Gmails for those GoFounder accounts. And using the print option, I had to use the little eyeball. I had to unclick that and I had to put my code in, my PIN, so that it would unlock all the passwords so I could view them. Once I had them all viewable, I right clicked and I hit print and printed the whole damn list. I have a printout of every email, every password that I have for my ONPASSIVE accounts. Worked out pretty well.
Thank you, Tim, for sharing that. Appreciate it. Good hints
Very
for all of
good.
us.
But he should make sure he saves that in a safe place. Keep it away, locked somewhere.
Yes, indeed. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That's why I found it. That's why I wanted it.
Please. It should be known maybe by someone who's maybe a next of kin or something like that, and no one else.
Goes with my will.
Yep. You got it.
All right, thank you so much. Do we have any more hands up? I think we're done, right? We're done? Oh, righty. So let's wrap up. It's our time to give acknowledgements and thanks to everyone. Before I forget,
Lynn, it was a very good and very informative webinar that you had tonight. Very pleased. That's why I had to get on and tell you that.
Thank you so much, Tim. Right, so before I forget, I want to mention that the Papua New Guinea guest webinar, which is on Saturday at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, has been canceled. David Bacal's wife, Suzanne, is not feeling well. So we ask for your prayers. We all believe in the power of prayer. So keep them in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you so much. I'd like to thank now my co-host, Ron Hulbert, for without him, we wouldn't have even started Friday Night Live. And he's the one that thought of Friday Night Live as the name of our webinar. So thank you, Ron. Also want to thank Marty DeGarmer, who allows us to use the corporate Zoom account. And it's because of him that we are able to live stream on multiple YouTube channels. So thank you very much, Marty. Always there for us. I'd also like to thank Chris Johnson and Julie Wynn, who are always there in the background or sometimes in the foreground, helping us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you to Bill Musk, who created our graphics for tonight's webinar. Thank you to Bruce Gerstein, who helps bring people from the attendees list to the panelist list. Thank you so much. Thank you to our presenters tonight, Dr. Benny Blessing and Bridget Comsey. They did a great job on cybersecurity. Just give them a hand. I thought they did really well. It's not a very easy topic to cover and make it simple. So thank you so much. I want to thank our IT guys, Engineer Mike Ojangtambia, Oliver Fonte, and Bob Takusi. They added a lot to our webinar. Thank you to them. I also want to thank the leaders who took the time to attend. We have Niraj Dalvi, as well as Jeffrey Morlock and Cindy Hopkins that came tonight. We appreciate you so much. So on behalf of Ron, we would like to thank you so much for attending Friday Night Live webinar, and we look forward to seeing you again. Friday Night Live is every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So be sure to join us next week. We'll have another great topic, some technical topic that we will make simple for everyone to understand. So at this time, we would like to have you unmute and say bye-bye, aloha to each other.
Bye from Canada. Thank you.
Bye, bye, good night. Bye, good night.
Just for because.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, bye.
Bye, everybody.
Love you all.
Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Ron.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Pastor Paul.
Bye.
Good morning, Pastor Paul.